So these biscuits, I have made an extra bit brown. Yummy. Look, those nice fresh biscuits. We'll leave the oven open so it warms up the rest of the kitchen there. Extra heating. May as well put it to use. It's getting cold here. Don't those look yummy? Yeah, it's November in Maine. We're getting into mid-November. It's the 14th today. Friday the 14th. Yeah, I just drank some cold vinegar. That's probably why. Me, 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 me. Just looking at the sky. Made some biscuits and soup. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, those came out really good. They do such a good job with those. Aren't the blues really pretty? Look how bright those blues are. Aren't those cool? Got that at Amazon too. Yeah, you get a whole roll for about $7 or $8. Yeah, it comes off in sheets. It stays on really good. Oops, got some hair sticking out. What? Yeah, I know, that's funny, isn't it? Yeah, that's A-okay with me. Let's see. How about which one? No, I don't have that. I'll pick one. How about history of experimental psychology? No, sorry, that one's not out here. Whichever one you asked for isn't out here. I picked this one. Let's see. Spencer. The Mills and Bain. Page 230. Page 225. Bain. I got Charles Bell's. These are interesting histories to read sometime, just for awareness purposes. At college, this self-made student did excellency with poor instruction and was graduated after 4 years when he was 22. Hold on. When he was 22. I cannot find my place. Oh, 24. Oh, when he was 22. Oh, he graduated. I kept seeing 24 years. I'm pretty sure it said 22. After 24 years, when he was 22. I see. At college, this self-made student did excellency with poor instruction and was graduated, after 4 years when he was 22. I'm telling you, my eyes are playing tricks on me. Well, because, and I was like, well, how is that even possible? Because he would have been a negative. It couldn't have happened that way after 24 years when he was 22. That's why I was confused. So that would have been from the years 18 to 22. See, the other way around, he would have had to have been negative 2. Anyways, I was just confusing myself, that's all. Just working through it on my own. Is that okay? Jeez, chitter chatter. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you. Ooh, you're welcome. I'm really glad you like it. They spent a lot of time on it, so I will tell them. They will be really glad you liked it. After 4 years, when he was 22, dividing highest honors with another student, his interest in knowledge and natural philosophy had been increased, but the course in moral philosophy, the principal work of the last year, attracted his interest most, although pedagogically and inspirationally this course was about as poorly given as a college course could well be. When its professor, a year later, became an invalid, Bain was employed as a substitute to read the professor's notes and thus conduct the class. He added at times a very little of his own interpretation, only as much as he dared, and even thus he came under suspicion, a suspicion found originally on the fact that he had never become a communicant of the church. For the 20 years after his graduation, from 1940 to 1960, Bain remained an involuntary freelance in London and Scotland. He applied several times for Scotch University chairs, but though he had strong support, he was always, except once, finally defeated by academic politics and his taint of liberalism. Once he was appointed professor of mathematics and natural science at Glasgow, but the chair was ill paid. The work was arduous and unsuited to Bain's increasing interests in psychology, and Bain resigned after a year. In London, he had formed a friendship with John Stuart Mill, 12 years his senior, and with the intellectual circle in which Mill moved. He wrote for magazines, mostly on subjects that we show now called psychology and the philosophy of science. One gets some notion of the completeness of his psychological interest when one learns in his article on toys in the Westminster Review in 1842, he developed his associative law of similarity. He helped Mill in the final revision of the Logic in that same year. The Logic was probably the name of a magazine. He published a laudatory review of it immediately after its publication in 1843. Meanwhile, he was preparing for his great effort, a large systematic psychology. He began actual composition about 1851, and the work, for convenience and publication, was finally divided into 2 volumes. The Senses and the Intellect appeared in 1855, and the Emotions and the Will, you'd probably like that one, after a delay by the publisher because the first volume had not sold well in 1859. Bain was then 41 years old. The 2 volumes are really one work and represent Bain's most important contributions to thought. They were successful, and Bain spent much time during the latter half of his life in revising them. Revised editions of the first volume appeared in 1864, 1868, and 1894, of the second in 1865, 1875, and 1899. That is to say,
Spain remained the standard British psychological text for almost half a century until Stout replaced it. We'll pause there. A century of psychological, the Century Psychology series, A History of Experimental Psychology by Edward G. Boring. Universities of Central Europe. This is a cool kind of a map. Willem, one, saying that right? Looking for the year for someone. New York, London, D. Appleton Century Company Incorporated. Copyright 1929 by the Century Company, all rights reserved, including the right to reproduce this book or portions thereof in any form. Printed in the USA to Edward Bradford Titchener. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, that would be cool.